This right here is my Springfield Armory Mil-Spec 1911. There's a lot of reviews about this gun on YouTube and elsewhere, so I'm not going to do a review on the gun, okay? I'm going to do a review of Springfield Armory's lifetime warranty. And this gun is why I love their company so much, okay? Because this is a Mil-Spec, it was created and built in Brazil and then shipped to the United States. There's no finishing in America. It's all done in Brazil. I purchased this gun February of 2009, and a little background here. In 2005, I saw this in a magazine and said that I had to have this pistol as the first handgun that I would buy. And 5 or 6 years later, that came true. So last February, I purchased this handgun brand new out of the box and took it to the range, and it was shooting 6 inches low and to the right. And there were a couple shooters that also shot it, so I know it wasn't me. I called Springfield Armory, and they said send it in. Well, let me just say that it takes some time with them, but the work that they do is well worth it. Okay, and as you can see here, I have 4 invoice letters. So I've had to send it back 3 times and get parts from them once. Okay, and I'll go through that. Okay, so for the first time that I sent it in, they replaced the barrel with a match barrel. They hand fitted a 1911 barrel bushing in stainless steel because the gun did come with a Parkerized one. They replaced the rear sight. They fixed the frame to slide fit. It was very loose from the factory, so they fixed that. They range tested it, sent me a target, and then they drifted the rear sight slightly afterwards. And then they sent it back to me. And I took it out to the range, brought it back home, and was cleaning it, and noticed that the front sight had come loose. Because on the GI and Mil-Spec, they are not dovetailed. So I had to send it back in. So the second time it was sent in, they did a 3-dot front sight replacement. They did a disconnector, a sear, they tuned the sear spring, they tuned the hammer, and got it down to a 4 3/4 pound trigger pull. They tested it and everything was okay, and at that time I purchased a full-length guide rod from them. The problem was with the trigger pull, it was close to 10 pounds as best I could estimate it, and it's not supposed to be anywhere near that from the factory. So they did all that free of charge and free shipping too. That's one thing that I love. So I got the gun home, took it to the range, and the front sight came loose again. So I was pretty ticked off about that. So I sent it in. I sent a letter with it, because in 3 months' time, okay, the first 90 days I owned the gun, Springfield Armory had it, or FedEx had it more than 50% of that time, okay? More than 50 days, the first 90, it was not in my hands, okay? which to me was wrong. So I wrote them a letter, I put it in the box of the gun, and I said, I was very tactful about what I said. But basically, they gave the letter to their supervisor, and they decided that they were going to dovetail the front sight because it had come loose twice. And we're talking under 500 rounds total in the gun at this point. They installed the front sight, they put a roll pin in it, and they didn't charge me anything, and they also refinished the slide. So very, very nice machine work on installing that as well. A couple weeks after I got that back, I noticed that the extractor was rotating on its own. The firing pin stop wasn't tight to it. So I called them up, I explained the situation, that I had already returned the gun 3 times, and just wondered if they could send me the parts and I'd install them myself and gunsmith them on my own. And they talked to their supervisor, and they thought that it was okay because it was just going to be a firing pin stop and an extractor. And so they ended up sending me one, and all that within the first 4 months of owning this gun. Basically, what I have, I've kept all the paperwork just in case, especially with the trigger pull being done by them. Okay, if it ever has to go to court, I want to be able to prove that it wasn't me that brought the trigger pull to that point. Okay, they did send me a target right here. Not the greatest grouping, but it's a lot better than it was the first time I had it. So basically, with all this work done to it, and everything on the inside being replaced, okay, at one point or another, this gun shoots as well and just as accurately as loaded for a fraction of the cost. Okay? Yes, I had to go through a little bit of hell to get it there, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. Springfield Armory is a great company. Yes, their products are made in Brazil, some of them. Others are finished in the U.S. But they're not like another one of those Brazilian companies that you hear so many bad things about. Again, this is my experience with one gun, okay? 4 issues, and they all were taken care of at cost, okay? And I have an awesome gun that I will trust my life with if need be. There's a target. After everything was said and done, 10 shots, 25 yards. The target speaks for itself. Okay, the standard gun's supposed to shoot 4 to 6 inches at 25 yards, and the main group here is about 1.25 inches. So, 8 rounds, all touching, 25 yards. I'll take it.